Hello guys, welcome to Data Crafting Lab. Trust you're able to learn one or two things in my previous lesson. I really appreciate you all. Now, if you want us to work on any of the video for you, kindly drop that in the comment section. Also, if you like any of our video, kindly give us a thumb up. Click on the notification bell. When I drop a new video, you get notified. For those that want to learn data analysis absolutely for free, you can learn that on my channel. This is what you just do. I'll be creating a playlist now. Data analysis using Excel from the beginning to the advanced level. Once you are done with that, you can still earn a certificate from Data Crafting Lab. Now, in this lesson, we'll be discussing
the Xlookup function in Excel. Most of the Excel users are familiar with the VLOOKUP function, how to use it. What are the advantages and limitations of the VLOOKUP function? Microsoft has introduced a new powerful function as a successor to the VLOOKUP, which is the Xlookup function. In this lesson, we'll be discussing it and also with the aid of examples. Before we proceed, let's look at the definition of Xlookup function. Xlookup is one of the new functions in the Excel function list. This is an advanced version for the functions like VLOOKUP and Xlookup. This function can help to overcome certain limitations that the earlier lookup functions have. If you are a regular user of lookup functions and are using the complex function of index and match, then you definitely like the flexibility Xlookup function offers. Xlookup function has 6 arguments, out of which 3 are mandatory and 3 are optional. Now, take a look. If I bring down this formula now, equals to Xlookup. Now, if I click on it now, can you see now? Lookup value, that's 1. Lookup array, that's 2. Return array, that's 3. These are the 3 mandatory arguments. Now, why the 3 optionals are if not found, match mode, and search mode. Can you see it now? Now, let me clean this formula and let's continue now. Let's take one example and let's see how to use it. Now, let's start with, let's say, company name. Company name. Now, let me use City Powder and Light. City Powder and Lights. Okay, let's use second quarter, that's Q2. Sorry, sales. Now, let's apply our formula, equals to Xlookup. Okay, better still, let me apply data validation here, because if we are to be doing for the rest, let me bring my data validation. You just come to data. Now, when you come to data, come here, click on data validation. Now, this any value, change it to list. Now, source, shift control arrow down. Now, click on OK. Now, choose. We want to choose what we want to choose the right time. I think City Powder, right? City Powder and Light. Now, let's apply our formula now. Equals to Xlookup. Now, this is our lookup value. That's actually what we are looking for. Comma. Now, where can we now lookup array? In what range? This is data range as a whole. Now, in what range now? From the company. Shift control arrow down. Comma. Sorry. Comma. Now, return array, that's the what? Sales Q2, second quarter, that's the return array. Shift control arrow down, close the bracket, click on enter. Can you see it now? If we look at City Powder and Light now, City Powder, this is City Powder and Light. We have it to vote for the second quarter, we have it to be $674,295. Can you see it now? Our formula is actually working. Now, in a situation, now let's try another example. Now, before we proceed to another example, look at something. Now, if I bring down this drop down list now, can you see now? If I change it now, it will actually bring for the what? For the cost, for the orders, the sales they make for those second quarter. Can you see it now? Fourth coffee. That's one of the advantages of what data validation. Now let's try another example. Unlike VLOOKUP, Xlookup have the lookup value. Sorry, has the lookup and return the array as different arguments. An advantage of having it in this way is you can do a lookup to the left as well. Whereas this is one of the limitations in the VLOOKUP, which works as the right function. Now just take a look. I will apply VLOOKUP to this data range now, and I will also apply VLOOKUP to this data range before we continue. Now let me company name, now Q1 first quarter sales. Let's use first quarter sales now. Sorry. Control 1. Sorry. Control down, right. Control 1. Okay, I think we are fine. Now, what are we actually? Let me apply my data validation here now. Come here, come to data, other data, click on data validation. Now, this any value, change it to list. Now, source, shift control, arrow down. Now, click on OK. Now let's start with Blue Yonder Airlines. Now let me apply my VLOOKUP formula. Sorry, I think I've applied. Let me clear this data validation before we continue. Clear. Click on OK. I think we are fine now. Okay, this is still working. Now let's apply our formula equals to VLOOKUP. Now what's our lookup value? Blue Yonder Airlines, right? Comma. Now table array, that means the table range where we are actually looking for. Shift control arrow down, arrow right, comma. Now column index. On which column do we have the worst? The first quarter sales. That's what? Column 3. This column 1, column 2, column 3. Sorry, comma. Now 0. Close the bracket, click on enter. Now Blue Yonder, now that's 934,763. Let's see whether we are actually correct. Can you see now? Blue Yonder, $934,763. Now if I change it now to Consulto Limited, Contoso Limited, can you see now? That's $239, $239,219. Can we? Let's check. Consulto. We're actually correct. Now, what I actually want to show you now, I've applied my VLOOKUP to this data set now. Now let me apply this VLOOKUP to this data too. Now one thing in VLOOKUP is that if the lookup array, the lookup value, if it's not at first, let's actually do this now. Let's apply VLOOKUP for it now. Company name, okay. Let me undo that. Let me come in. Company. Company name. Now, first quarter, Q1 sales. Now, what are we actually looking for? Let's say adventure work. Adventure works. Click on enter. Now let's apply our formula equals to VLOOKUP. Now our lookup value, this is the adventure work, comma. Now lookup array, shift control arrow down, arrow right, comma. Now column index, that's column 4. This is column 1, 2, 3, 4. 0. Close the bracket, click on enter. Can you see now? It's not actually working because the lookup value is not at the first line now in VLOOKUP. That's why I applied VLOOKUP to this first. Can you see now? We have the company's name to be the first. That's our lookup value. Can you see now? The formula actually work here. The formula doesn't work here because our lookup value is not at it's not the first thing we have here. But in a situation of Xlookup, it doesn't matter, it will actually work. This is one of the limitations of VLOOKUP formula and Xlookup. So in a situation whereby you are applying your VLOOKUP, your lookup value must always come first. Now let's apply our Xlookup formula now. Now before we proceed, let's come here. Let's apply data validation now. Come to data as usual. Come to data, click on data, come here, click on data validation. Now this any value, change it to list. Now source, this is our source. Shift control arrow down, click on OK. Now click on the drop down list. Now let's bring blue or adventure work. Let's click on adventure work this time around. Now let's apply our formula now equals to Xlookup. Click on it. Now our lookup value, what are we actually looking for? That's our adventure work, right? Comma. Now lookup array. Now our lookup array, that's where we can find the adventure work. That's the name of the companies. Shift control arrow down, comma. Now return array, we are looking for the value of QN second quarter of sales. That's shift control arrow down, close the bracket, click on enter. Now can you see it now? Adventure work, that's the name of the company. Now their second quarter sales was $733,396. Can you see our formula is actually correct? In this example, we can see that we are having the return array towards the left side of the lookup array. That is, Xlookup function return the corresponding value based on the lookup value. That is, since the lookup array is on the left hand side now, the Xlookup function return the corresponding value. That is the value of the second quarter of sales. Corresponding value based on the lookup value. Now let's try another. Let me just apply border to this. Shift control arrow down, arrow right, control 1 for your border. Like something thick inside, click on OK. Now let me centralize them. Come to home, think we are fine. Now let me apply $sign here. Okay, use it to nearest to number. Okay, we are fine. Now this third example now, look up and return a range or row based on lookup value. Now this is the data set we'll be using for that. Another feature of Xlookup function in Excel is its ability to return a range of data. That is, Xlookup can return more than one value corresponding to the lookup value. This do not require extra effort. Now, for instance, now I want to fetch out all the details of a particular company, in this data range now. Instead of me using this second quarter to do this, I will need to put the range in the return array argument instead of a single row or column, like the one I did earlier on. Now, let's apply our formula and see what I'm talking about. Now, let me bring out a company's name now. For instance, let me bring out Fort Coffee. Now, like I said earlier, you can fetch out all the details for a particular company instead of for just this second quarter of sales, like we are doing earlier on. That is what I actually want to do now. Now, if you look at, now these are first quarter sales, second quarter sales. Now the industry. Now I want to get the details of this industry, first quarter sales and second quarter sales for the fourth coffee company. Now let me apply my formula now, equals to Xlookup. We want to get all the details. Now what's our lookup value now? Now what's our lookup value now? Our lookup value, that's fourth coffee, comma. Now lookup array, that's in the range actually where we are looking for. Where do we have a fourth copy? That's under the company. Shift Control arrow. Sorry. Let me start again. Okay. Shift arrow down because there are some things under it. Comma. Now the return array, that's industry, arrow down. I don't want it to take in to capture all those things under it. Arrow right, close the brackets, click on enter. Can you see it now? Now, fourth coffee falls under what? Beverages falls under which industry? Beverages industry. Fourth coffee. Can you see it? Now, for their first quarter sales, it was $876,740. Now, and for their second sales, second quarter sales, now $576,216. Can you see it now? It has actually bring out all details, both the industry, first quarter, second quarter, for what? For the fourth coffee. That's the what? Essence of the what? That's the essence of the what? Look up and return a range, whether on row, based on what? Lookup value. Now, instead for the single column that we have been doing before, let me scroll up now. Can you see now? Instead of for the single column that we have actually been doing before, that will just bring out whether for the company name, like this now. Can you see? coffee. Now what's their second quarter sales? This is it. Now it actually bring out for both the company's name and the industry under the category it falls, and the first quarter sales and second quarter sales. Now let's try this fourth example now. If you observe, we have been using two different functions, VLOOKUP and Xlookup, to perform a vertical or horizontal lookup respectively. Xlookup can also do the same that these two different functions used to do. Observe, the only difference would be with the lookup and return array we provide to Xlookup. For the vertical lookup, which is the VLOOKUP, you need to use the columns for the lookup and return array argument. And for the horizontal lookup, you need to use the rows for the lookup and return array argument. Take note. The examples above now demonstrate the usage of Xlookup function for vertical lookup using the same data from the above example. Now I want to get industry in which the company is in. Now this time around the data is in horizontal format. Now can you see it now? This data is in horizontal format. Now let's apply our formula now. Now I actually want to look for the company name, right? Now this is the industry. The industry is under what? Utilities, right? Now let's apply our formula. Equals to Xlookup, click on it, open brackets. Now what's our lookup value? Our lookup value will be utilities. Now we want to know the companies that falls under this industry of utilities, comma. Now where do we have these utilities? Under industry, right? That's shift control arrow down, comma. That's our lookup array. Now return array, where can we find this company name? That's company. Under the company's name, shift control arrow down, close the bracket, click on enter. Can you see it now? Now this company name is City Power and Light, that falls under the industry of utilities. Can you see it now? Now let's try the fifth example now. The fifth example says lookup value not found. What that simply means is that when using the lookup function, if the lookup value is not found, the function returns an error. This is used to be handled by using appropriate error handling criteria as required. In this scenario now, Xlookup function in Excel comes with an inbuilt error handling option. That is the fourth argument in this function, which is if not found. Now if I bring, like in the other time, I bring out the formula as Xlookup, double click on it now. Can you see now? We've actually talked about lookup value, lookup array, return array, if not found. That's where we are. That's where we are now. Actually, that's the fourth argument. It remains the match mode and search mode. This fourth argument in the function, if not found, gives the flexibility to display the text of your choice in case the lookup value is not found. You can write the Xlookup function. For instance, now maybe you are looking for the company name now, and you just indicate in the formula that if this company name is not found, kindly indicate company not found as it. That is if it's not available, for instance, in the company name list. Instead of bringing out as NA, like NA, sorry, okay, the formula is actually NA error or something. Now let's start. Let's apply our formula. Equals to Xlookup. Click on it. Now what's our lookup value? Apple, comma. Now lookup array. Where do we have an Apple? That's under the company. Shift control arrow down, comma. Now second quarter sales. That's shift control. That's our return array. Comma. Now hold your shift key, double column, put it in quotations. Company not found. Close the bracket. Click on enter. Now it's actually telling us that what? Apple is not among the listed company. In a situation whereby the Apple is among the listed company, now it will indicated the second quarter sales for this Apple company. But in a situation whereby we don't have it there, we indicated it in the formula that it should indicate that the company is not found, instead of giving us an error. Let's look at this example 6. In this example, to understand how you can use Xlookup to perform an approximate match, the match mode argument is used to perform an approximate match. Now, in this scenario, we'll be using this data set now. In this case, I want to grade a company based on the total sales done for both first quarter and second quarter. The grading should be done as per the second table, which is this. Will be done based on this table now. Now let's apply our formula now. Now equals to Xlookup. Now our lookup value. Now our lookup value is this total sales. Comma. Now we said we'll be using this sales range and this grade. Now our lookup array. Where do we have now these values? This is our lookup array. Shift control arrow down, comma. Now grade. That's our return array. Shift control arrow down. Now double comma. Now we want, if not the you'll be using the -1, exact match, or next -1. Reason why we use the -1 is that to get the next list value, if not the exact match. Now in order for us to do for the rest at once, you can just fix this now. Now Fn, F4, depending on your system, or you can just use the F4 key alone to fix it. Fn, F4, depending on your setting of your system. Now bring your cursor here, close the bracket, click on enter. Can you see now? It has actually graded the company now. Now $942,356. We don't have the exact figure here, but we have figure that is lesser than that to it, which is it doesn't fall in the first grade, that is $1,300,000, followed by $1 million. It falls in the it's called category, that's the grade C, that's the least figure, and that's the lesser figure, closer to $942,356. Can you see now? It has actually graded it based on the figure that is lesser, or lesser to it, since we don't have the exact figure now. Now if you bring your cursor here now, just drag down. It has actually graded all the companies now. $857,117. Can you see now? It still fall under the grade C, 1 million plus. Still fall under grade B. And those ones that are grade A are the ones that start from 1,300,000 above. Let me just Let me just centralize it. Can you see it now? Now take note, the -1, which is for the match mode argument, tells Xlookup to look up for the value and find an approximate match in case an exact match is not available. If you look at this first grade now, Xlookup is not able to find the exact match. Now it looks for an approximate match, that's which is the what? Grade C. Since we are using -1, it search for the next smaller match, which is what? $800,000, and it returned the what? The grade as what? Grade C. I hope we are progressing. Now let's try another scenario now. Let's try another scenario using another example. For this same data now, in a situation whereby we use 1 instead of -1, you will observe that the grade will change. Now let's bring out this data and try it now. Now we bring out the data. Let's apply our formula now. Equals to Xlookup. Click on it. Now what's our lookup value? This is our lookup value, comma. Now what's our lookup array? Where can we get this total sales from? That's sales range, right? Now check something. Shift Control arrow down. Now let's start from sales range now. Look at something. Shift Control arrow down, comma. Now where can we get our what? Return array. That means return array. Now that will be for grade. Shift, because this we have grade, right? That's where we want to what? Get the value for. Shift Control arrow down. Now comma. Now we said since we are on match, we use double comma. We said we want what? We want to use exact one, the positive one, not -1 this time around. That means exact match or next bigger item. Close the bracket, click on enter. Can you see now? It has actually graded now. That means we don't have 900 here, but we have something closer to what? 900. That's what? $1 million. That's what? That's grade B. Now let's bring out this formula back. Now let's fix this. Now Fn F4 on your keyboard. Depending on the system, you can use F4 depending on the setting of your system. Now bring your cursor back here. Now so that we can do for the rest, we just drag it down. Click on enter. Now bring your cursor back. Now bring your cursor here. Drag down. Can you see now? Yes, this is actually where I was going. The other time when I wanted to insert the formula here now, I started from sales range to what? $500,000, and from grade to what? To D. It's because we don't have what? Reason why it brings out what? Grade here is because we started from grade to what? To D, and sales range to what? To $500,000. And this is because this is our return what? Return array. Assuming this is our return array now, it will just put what? Sales range here. But in the situation whereby we don't include this now, you will see something now. Just check it out. Let's Ctrl Z to undo the last action now. Now let me delete this formula here now. Now let's bring our formula back again. Equals to Xlookup. Now click on it. Now what's our lookup array? Lookup value, comma. Now lookup array. Let's start from this $1,300. Shift Control arrow down, comma. Now grade. Now bring your cursor here. Shift Control arrow down, double comma. Since we are on match, we want to make use of Xlookup and match together. Double click on it. Now close the bracket. Don't forget to fix this so that we can just do for the rest at once. Fix the return array and what? Lookup. Sorry, and the lookup array. Fix it. Fn F4 or F4 directly, depending on the setting of your system. Just click on enter. Can you see now? Now check it out now. It has actually do beyond what I actually want to do. Now let me just drag it down instead of just double clicking on it. Can you see now? It's giving us what? NA, not applicable. NA error. Because we don't have anything here for it. Now, $1,443. The other time it was bringing out what? Grade. Can you see it now? That's what is because I didn't include what? The grade this time around. That's why it was bringing NA. Now, what actually brings this NA? NA in Xlookup returns NA because we have not assigned any grade. We have not assigned any grade for what? For sales range above $1.3 million. Can you see now? We started from what? $1,300,000 to what? To $500,000. Assuming I graded what? That and that $1,400,000. Now to be, let's say E now. Let's say E. Are you with me now? In this situation now, it will have what? Just grade this place as E. Because I didn't assign any grade for this what? Anything above $1,300,000. And we want exact match or next what? Bigger to it. And is above what we actually what? Have in the what? Sales range. That's why it's now bringing out what? NA. That means what? Non-applicable error. Take notes. Now that's that. Now let's try this last example before we round up this lesson. Now for this last example, now find last match using Xlookup. One of the other advantage of Xlookup is that you can do a search from bottom to top and return the last value. In this situation, you need to use the search mode argument for it and set it to be -1. Now let me explain with a head of example what I'm actually saying now. Now let me bring out industry. Let me say industry. Here let's say company name. Company name. Now let's say we have, let me look for one company here. Let's say graphic institute. Graphic institute. Now let me just apply border to beautify my work. Control arrow 1. Now click on border, come here. Now you can apply color. Now let me use this navy blue. I like something thick. Click on outer line, inside. Okay. Now I think we are fine. Now let's apply our formula now. Since we are talking about the last match using Xlookup, and we said we use the what? Search mode. Now let's apply our formula. Equals to Xlookup. Now what's our lookup value? Our lookup value. Now our lookup value should be is this, comma. Now lookup array. Where do we have this industry? And sorry, this company name. Shift Control arrow down, comma. Now return array. That's the industry. Shift Control arrow down, comma. Now we said using match, so we want exact match or next smaller item. We are using -1, close the bracket, click on enter. That's what? Education. Can you see it now? That means it has actually searched from what? Bottom to top. It can search from bottom to top. Now this is where we'll stop for the Xlookup lesson. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you all. I believe you are able to learn one or two things in this lesson.
Just to help to learn one or two things in this lesson, I really appreciate you all. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. When I drop a new video, you get notified. See you in the next lesson. Bye for now.